Daniel stood at the podium in the hushed chapel, the scent of fresh lilies mingling with the faint mustiness of old hymnals. Rain drummed softly on the roof, a somber accompaniment to the grief that hung in the air like fog. His father, Robert Smith, lay in the polished oak casket at the front, a man who had once commanded boardrooms with the same quiet authority he used to fix bicycles in their garage. At 58, Robert had been taken by a car accident on a slick highway curve, his brakes failing in the downpour. Daniel, now 35 and the CEO of a thriving cybersecurity startup, felt the loss like a void in his code, something essential deleted, leaving errors cascading through his life. He adjusted his tie, swallowing the lump in his throat, and began to speak. My father was more than an architect of buildings. He was the architect of my world. He taught me resilience, innovation, the value of quiet strength. But in his later years, he found a light that had dimmed in our home. Linda Mallister wasn't just his colleague or his confidant, she was the one who truly understood him, who brought joy back into his days. She was family. The words echoed, drawing murmurs from the crowd. Eyes shifted to Linda in the front row, her dark hair pulled back elegantly, a single pearl necklace catching the light as she dabbed at her eyes with a tissue. She looked composed, almost regal in her black sheathed dress. Daniel's mother, Maggie, sat 2 seats away, her face pale under the chapel's soft lights, her hands clenched around a crumpled program. She had always been the steady one, the woman who packed lunches and attended parent-teacher conferences while Robert chased deadlines across time zones. But Daniel had witnessed the erosion of their marriage, the terse dinners, the separate vacations masked as business trips. His father had opened up to him in rare moments, over scotch in the study, describing how Maggie's practicality had morphed into criticism, how her strength felt like a cage. Linda, with her quick wit and shared passion for classical music, had been the escape Robert craved. As the service ended, Daniel stepped down and hugged Linda briefly. He'd want us to stick together, he whispered. She nodded, her voice soft. Thank you for seeing that, Daniel. Maggie approached later in the parking lot, her coat buttoned against the chill. How could you say those things? I'm his wife. 40 years. Daniel sighed, rain spotting his shoulders. Dad wasn't happy. You both deserved better than pretending. Linda gave him peace. Her eyes flashed with hurt, but she turned away, climbing into her car alone. Daniel watched her drive off, a twinge of unease stirring, but he buried it. Loyalty to his father's truth felt right. The will reading 2 weeks later unfolded in a wood-paneled office downtown, the lawyer's voice droning like a faulty server. Daniel sat between Maggie and Linda, the air thick with unspoken tension. To my son Daniel, I leave my collection of first edition books and a trust fund of $200,000 to support his ventures. Daniel nodded, appreciative but unsurprised. Then came the bombshell. The remainder of my estate, the family home in Somersville, the Nantucket property, my investment portfolio valued at approximately $4 million, and controlling shares in Smith Architecture, goes to Linda Mallister. Maggie inhaled sharply, her chair scraping as she leaned forward. This must be a mistake. We built that life together. The lawyer adjusted his glasses. The will was updated 3 years ago, notarized and witnessed. Linda's expression remained serene, a small smile touching her lips as she met Daniel's gaze. He felt a rush of validation. His father had chosen happiness over obligation. Later, over coffee at Linda's loft, with its floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city skyline, she poured him a cup. Your father worried about you both, but he knew I'd honor his wishes. Daniel clinked his mug against hers. He trusted you. That's enough for me. But Maggie's calls started that night, persistent voicemails laced with desperation. Daniel, there's something wrong. I've found old ledgers, transfers that don't make sense. He deleted them at first, chalking it up to grief-fueled paranoia. His days were consumed by his company, Nexus Security, where he led a team of 40 engineers fortifying digital fortresses for banks and governments. Success had come hard, nights coding until dawn. Investors won over by sheer grit. Robert had been his biggest cheerleader, attending launches and beaming with pride. Linda had been there too, at company parties, charming clients with her insights from Robert's firm. It all fit, a seamless narrative. Yet doubt crept in like a virus. One evening after a tense investor call where his firm's valuation hit a new high, Daniel revisited his father's emails. Buried in the inbox was a message from 18 months ago. "Son, head's been fuzzy lately. Linda's handling the paperwork. Good thing she's sharp." Fuzzy. Robert had mentioned forgetfulness in passing, laughing it off as age. Daniel had too, distracted by his own life. Now it nagged. He drove to Linda's unannounced, finding her in a silk robe, papers spread on her coffee table. "Just sorting old files," she said, stacking them quickly. "Want wine?" As she poured, Daniel glimpsed a document, a bank transfer for $150,000 to a consulting firm under her name. "From Dad's company?" he asked casually. She waved it off. "Legitimate work." He insisted. But her eyes darted and Daniel's hacker instincts kicked in. That night, in his sleek apartment with its minimalist decor and humming servers, he began digging. Using anonymous proxies, tools from his trade, he accessed public records, cross-referencing with family accounts he still had logins for. Discrepancies emerged. Funds diverted from Smith Architecture to shell companies linked to Linda. Signatures that looked off, dates altered subtly. Maggie's evidence arrived via an encrypted email from her old colleague Ruth. Scanned receipts showing over $800,000 siphoned, timed with Robert's fuzzy periods. Daniel's heart raced as he pulled medical files from a clinic database. A gray area hack, but necessary. The notes confirmed it. Early signs of cognitive decline, similar to Alzheimer's, undiagnosed because Robert refused full testing. Confusion, memory lapses, vulnerability. Flashbacks hit Daniel. Visits where his father stared blankly at photos, Linda guiding his pen. "Sign here, love. It's for us." Not love exploitation. The betrayal burned. He saw his own complicity. Idolizing Robert as infallible, casting Maggie as the villain to justify his father's choices. But Maggie had been the constant, nursing him through childhood asthma, funding his first laptop with overtime shifts. Inner conflict tore at him. Exposing Linda meant dismantling the father he revered, risking his career if his methods leaked. Clients valued discretion. A whistleblower CEO was a liability. Yet the pull of truth of owed duty to his mother grew stronger. He confided in no one at first, feeding anonymized data to Maggie's lawyer. The lawsuit filed quietly. Fraud, embezzlement, manipulation of a vulnerable person. Linda called him, voice laced with panic. "Daniel, this is madness. Your mother's twisting things." "Is it?" he replied coolly, hanging up. His secret probe deepened, interviews with former employees via burner phones, revealing Linda's rise. From assistant to partner, leveraging Robert's affection and fog. One night, staring at a photo of the three of them at a company gala. Robert beaming, Linda's hand on his arm, Daniel wept. The man he loved had been preyed upon, his legacy tainted. Growth stirred amid the pain. Blind loyalty had blinded him. True filial duty meant protecting the vulnerable, even posthumously. He decided to testify. The courtroom was a stark arena, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, the judge a stern woman with silver-streaked hair. Linda took the stand, poised but pale. "Robert and I were in love. Those transfers were gifts, compensation for my work." Her lawyer presented invoices, but Daniel's evidence shredded them. Forgeries, timestamps mismatched. When his turn came, Daniel stood tall, voice firm despite the knot in his stomach. "As a cybersecurity expert, I analyzed the documents. The signatures were altered digitally. My father showed signs of cognitive impairment. Linda exploited that, forging embezzlements during his vulnerable moments." The gallery murmured. Reporters typed furiously. Linda's eyes met his, wide with betrayal. The judge ruled swiftly. Fraud proven, assets to be repaid with interest, Linda's career in ruins. But the fallout hit Daniel hard. Headlines screamed, "Tech CEO turns on father's mistress." Clients fled. His board demanded resignation. Nexus's stock plummeted. He sold controlling interest to salvage jobs, stepping down to a consultant role. Isolation followed. Nights alone with regrets. Rebuilding started small. 6 months post-trial, on a sunny afternoon, Daniel drove to Maggie's house. The family home now hers again. She opened the door warily, her garden blooming behind her. A testament to her resilience. I didn't expect you, she said. He held out a folder. I'm starting something. The Maggie Smith Foundation for Alzheimer's Families, Support and Awareness. In your name. Her eyes softened, tears welling. Why now? Because I was wrong. Dad wasn't perfect. Neither was I. You were the strength we both needed. I choose real family now. She pulled him into a hug, her frame frail but warm. Over the following year they worked together, fundraisers, awareness events. Daniel found purpose beyond code, mentoring affected families, his reputation slowly mending as an advocate. Maggie opened up about her sacrifices, the love she'd held despite the pain. One evening under the porch light as fireflies danced, she said, "You remind me of him, the good parts." Daniel smiled, changed. No longer chasing illusions but grounded in earned bonds. The foundation thrived, a legacy of redemption, proving growth blooms from the ashes of betrayal.